Hello, and welcome to another Win Daily Sports show. My name is Michael Brazil. I got Mom Man Ghost here with me, and we are breaking down this incredible, this fantastic, this very, very wet Wednesday here on the Win Daily Sports show. We're breaking down this entire NBA slate for you. We're going to be giving you the picks. We're going to be giving you the plays, the pivots, as some people like to call them. And that's what we're here to do. That is it, people. You know the deal at this point. Please smash the hell out of that like button. That would make us very happy. If you haven't already, windailysports.com/chat. Hop in that bad boy. 7 free days. We've seen what this YouTube chat looks like. You can only imagine what like 2:30 in the morning sweat looks like. It's a blast. So come hang out with us there. Make sure to follow us at DFS_Ghost, myself at Michael Brazil, and us at Win Daily Sports. Ghost Man, happy wet Wednesday, buddy. When did you dive into did you dive into the tequila like Tom Brady did today?
No, not today, especially with how busy work was there. But this weekend's going to be fun. This weekend's going to be a good one. Everything's slowly starting to open up here again. So
hell yeah. Happy to hear it, brother. Go get out there. Everyone saw Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi trophy boat to boat.
That was crazy.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Tom Brady. I think I was totally okay with this one because it wasn't a Patriots Super Bowl. But watching that parade today, I was like, damn, this is pretty awesome. Kind of jealous. Him walking around drunk. We've literally all been there, which is the best part. So it's kind of cool that the greatest in the world to ever do it. We've got something in common. We got that stupid smile when we get really drunk. I think we got that in common. So we are here breaking down this. I think it's a 9-gamer, if I'm not mistaken. Some fun games, some fun totals. We're here to do it. So let's hop right into this bad boy. This first game, we have your Tampa Bay Raptors. We have the I messed up because I'm just kind of so excited to say Tampa Bay Raptors and the Washington Wizards. Raptors are favored by 5 right now. Over under sits at 234.5, with the juice actually going to the over. So that number is probably going to be popping up pretty soon. Ghost Man, well, we just had new news, right? OG is out, correct?
Yeah, OG's out.
So that helps. So I assume that opens up a lot of value in this game.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is one of the games that I'm getting the most exposure to. And kind of change it up today for those that haven't read the article. Today, I actually listed which guys I'm starting out with today on both sites. So felt a little generous today and I'm pretty transparent on the shows, but you guys get it in written form as well today. So a couple of core plays coming from this one. First one being Russell Westbrook. This price is just laughable on DraftKings. I don't know how else to explain it. 8,400 for a guy that's pretty much a walking triple-double. He's averaging close to 20 points, over 9 rebounds and 9 assists this season. This is just, I respect Kyle Lowry's defense. I respect Fred VanVleet's defense, but 8,400 for Russell Westbrook, who should be 10K on pretty much every slate, minimum 9,500 at the very least. 8,400 for Russ, you're getting a premium star for mid-range price. He's exactly where I'm starting my build tonight.
I love it. There's a lot of stuff going on, though, in this game, right? We took the over this early morning when it was still at like 229, 230. So that number's moved up. We like to see that. But also, I mean, again, OG is going to be out. We already, Thomas Bryant's been out for a little while. That's just about it for injury news. What has opened up on the Raptors side of the ball? Because I believe, again, as you said, Siakam, VanVleet, Lowry, I mean, there's usage to go around with OG out.
Yeah, so the biggest thing when I had written my article today, I kind of assumed that OG would sit this one out after what I was hearing based out of Toronto news and whatnot there. So obviously being in Canada, that's the main team that they cover, pretty much the only team that we cover. So I'd probably get the most extensive news possible there whenever I turn on the TV. So there was news that OG was likely not going to play in this one. And now that we got confirmation, that's exactly what we want to see. And even then it wouldn't be too bad because it's the first game on the slate. So we would have known soon enough that we would be able to adjust my lineups. But I'm going to start my build with Russell Westbrook, exactly what I said. And then I'm going to have one of Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, or Pascal Siakam. Right now, I am leaning to Siakam. So early on in the day, I listed Siakam as a core play for me on DraftKings. And right now, that is where I stand. That was my original take. And considering I kept flip-flopping between Siakam and VanVleet and kind of just working around different builds because of how bad shooting guard is tonight. But I am going with my original gut call, and I am sticking to Siakam. Wizards are absolutely terrible in the paint, they rank 27th in the NBA, so fourth last in the entire league in points in the paint. And everyone knows the troubles that Toronto has at the 5. So Siakam's been getting minutes at the 5, even at the 4, and he's been a lot more aggressive on the glass as well. Now that OG is out, you don't see OG flying in from the wings to be able to grab these longer rebounds. Siakam's the guy that's constantly getting them. So an uptick in usage, uptick in scoring, and on top of that, he's being more aggressive on the glass. A little too expensive for me on FanDuel at 9,300. I think that's a little steep, and that's why today I really emphasize that, you know what, on a day-to-day basis, that the plays are different between FanDuel and DraftKings. So Siakam's a core play for me on DraftKings, whereas on FanDuel, there's going to be another small forward that I'll give out that you guys can start your lineups with. But Pascal is going to be my main Raptor that I have today, but certainly can't blame you with going Van Vliet, and then Lowry would be my third. I love the spot, but he's coming in 20% owned versus 3% Van Vliet and 3% Siakam. Everyone knows that he has a bad back, and I get the price is really attractive at 7,300. I would love to play Kyle Lowry as well in this spot, but considering he's 20% owned, and it's not like Van Vliet and Siakam are 18% owned, they're 4% owned. It's a massive, massive difference that's there, and with the amount of ownership that's coming in at the forward spot, the fact that you get to have Siakam in such a good spot, in such a great game environment, because everyone's playing other chalk players, I'm locking in Siakam right now.
Yeah, no defense from the Wizards. Hopefully we hit that over though. 230 and a half. That's all.
Yeah, it was really nice to get it at 230 and a half. Now
it's not bad.
I'm seeing it at 235 and a half.
Yep.
Now. It actually just
yeah,
even more, so.
It's hopped up a little bit. So that's things you'll love to see. Drea's not a huge fan of Westbrook today. Raptors guard point guards and shooting guards at a pretty good rate. How do you feel about that?
It's the one or two positions that they can guard because their interior defense absolutely blows since Ibaka and Gasol are gone. But Lowry's got a bad back, and Van Vliet's been the thing is with the Raps is that they have to be less aggressive on the perimeter. They're not as aggressive as they are with their steals on ball. Off the ball, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to get a foul while you're trying to intercept the pass in a passing lane. But when you're on the ball, guys like Lowry and Van Vliet specifically have to be very careful because they're relied upon to play 37, 38, 39 minutes. That's exactly what Nick Nurse does. And even if Nick Nurse wasn't the coach, that's what their rotation is built upon, is these three guys playing 36, 37, 38 minutes. You can't have Lowry or Van Vliet getting 3 fouls in the first quarter when Russell Westbrook, who is top 5 in the NBA in drives per game, you know that he's going to be drawing fouls. This is a spot where Lowry and Van Vliet have to back off and hope that Aaron Baines or Chris Boucher, or it's not going to be Siakam because he can't foul either, right? So they're not, even then, all these guys are, okay, you want to foul Russell Westbrook because Baines is going to gather fouls. Okay, I'll take the 2 free points at the free throw line then for Russ. Like, it's either way, he's a guy that drives to the hoop at a top 5 rate in the entire league. That causes serious problems for them. Whereas if he was more of a perimeter shooter, that's where I would say, yeah, you know what, the Raps are pretty good at defending perimeter shooters. But when it comes to driving like that, Van Vliet and Lowry have not been as aggressive in the paint this season on the defensive side of the ball, whereas they were last season.
What if Russ could just shoot the ball at like a normal rate? He would be incredible.
He would be so much better. Like, even now, he's career low 43%. Like, it's just
so sad. Boucher on FanDuel?
Yeah, he's going to come in low owned. He could definitely dominate the paint. It's just I'm so invested in Siakam that I don't want Boucher to be out there at the 5. So for that reason, I'm not playing Boucher. But if you're playing Boucher, I wouldn't play Siakam.
Makes sense. Let's move on to the next game. Atlanta and Dallas. Dallas favored by 4 at home. Over under sits at a nice 232.5. My goodness, these are some fun games tonight, guys. We are in some good spots. Let's bring up the DraftKings board a little bit. Obviously, we got Luka. Obviously, we got Trey. A couple other guys. DeAndre Hunter is out. Rajon Rondo out. Bogdan out. Bogdanovich. It's so frustrating. How are you feeling about? Has Bogdan even played recently? I feel like he's been gone for most of the season. It's so sad. Should have went to the buddy. Should have went to the Bucks. I think that would have been better for you. How I mean, this is a game environment, right? 2 teams, no defense, lots of scoring. Should be a lot of fun. I mean, who are we locking in from this one?
Yeah, this is a very low owned spot. So when we're talking about the tournaments with 40, 50, 60,000 people, again, I'm not that kind of player. I don't enter into these tournaments with 60,000 people. But for those of you that are entering the main tournament on DraftKings tonight, I think it's $15 with 60,000 people in it. This would be a spot that I would attack. A lot of people are going to Indiana, Brooklyn, and then they're going to Toronto, Washington, and then they're going to this game. And even then, no one's really playing these guys. So anytime you get a 10% on Luka Doncic in a spot like this and a 10% on Trae Young to run it back, that's a really strong stack that you can get behind. My only concern with this is that I don't really know how to explain this properly, but like it's basically that what I like to do with my builds is that I like to just sub out the stars, or I like to sub out one or two value plays. The thing with these guys is that they're so much heavier priced than Russell Westbrook, than Pascal Siakam, that now it's like I have to change my entire build to be able to fit them in, right? So that for me is why I don't have any of them in my main lineup, but it's a great spot. Again, we talked about it the last time these two teams played. These are two guys that are going to be joined at the hip for their entire career. They got traded for each other on draft day. Now, on top of that, Rondo isn't exactly a threat to Trae Young's minutes, but just that now that they pretty much don't have a backup point guard, Brandon Goodwin is not, like he's not going to contribute in this game, right? So this is a spot where it's going to be Luka versus Trae for 40 minutes. That's what the Mavs like to do, because the only time they win is when Luka goes absolutely bonkers in 38 minutes. And now the Hawks are forced to do that too. So you can get both of these guys combining for 70 plus minutes, and each of them can have a ceiling game in a spot like this. So it is a good stack. I don't mind it. I can't get there on my main lineup just because of how expensive they are. But a 1-2-3 stack of Doncic, Trae Young, and I would definitely include Clint Capella in that. It's a Dallas interior that absolutely blows on the inside, and Clint Capella could easily have a 15-15 game here with a couple blocks. We saw that Porzingis had a much better game the last time out. But again, most of his damage was down the perimeter. So he refuses to go on the inside. I don't know if he's 100% healthy. I don't know if he's just changing his game. I don't know what his deal is really, but Clint Capella is going to feast all day long on the inside there. So if you want to run a large field tournament stack with those three guys, I definitely won't be opposed to it. And Gallinari is almost minimum priced on FanDuel. Again, I can't get there on DraftKings, but yeah, he's at 3,700 or 3,800 at a very weak small forward position. So you know what? Is he 100% healthy? Definitely not. He's likely still to be on a minutes restriction, but 25 minutes to 27 minutes maybe of Danilo Gallinari is all you need at that price. So he would be. I don't want to say he's a core play for me on FanDuel, but he would be high up there in my secondary player rankings.
Man, everything Atlanta did this offseason.
Like Gallinari's been injured. Bogdan hasn't played in who knows how long. Rondo's in and out of the rotation.
I mean, if anyone expected him to actually contribute, that's kind of on you at that point, right?
It's him, and then John Collins like fouls anybody that breathes in his proximity. Like it's
very fun.
I don't know. They're still hanging in there, but this is a team that everyone was hyped in the offseason, and we actually did say to take under their winning percentage there.
Yep, so. They won the offseason, so here we are. Let's move on. I think, as you said, this is the fun one. Indianapolis, Indiana Pacers, the Indiana No Placers. That's funny. And the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant is out. Karis LeVert is healthy, but still out. TJ Warren's been out pretty much the whole year at this point. Shumpert, I think he got hurt already somehow.
Yeah.
Shout out Amon Shumpert getting paid, and now he's hurt. So that's cool. We have James Harden. We have Kyrie. We have Domantas Sabonis. I know this is a smash spot. This is one of the highest totals on the slate. Naturally, we took the over this morning. It was a little bit lower. I think I got it at 231.5, 232. It's now up to 235. Pacers are actually favored by 1.5 on the road. Brooklyn doesn't cover. Now, granted, they're not really underdogs too often, but they don't really cover too much. I was on the over and Detroit last night. Shout out Capper Steve. We went 10-0 in our NBA picks and NCAA picks last night. So Wendelli sports betting, guys. We're raking it in. And don't worry, Chad, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I want to get to this game because I think it's pretty important. Kyrie, Harden, lock button. I mean, I know Sabonis. I mean, he's been cemented in your lineup for years at this point. But how about that Brooklyn side?
Yeah, so exactly what you just said. I've been playing Sabonis since day one, every single slate, and I guess people finally caught on now that we're like 20 plus games into the season that this guy's one of the most underrated players in the entire NBA. So it was fun for the first 20 plus games getting him at such low ownership. But this is a spot where he's a lock button for me on both sides today, actually, not just on DraftKings, but on FanDuel as well. His PRA, I got it at 37.5, and it's now up to 42.5. So people are slamming that. So the value is, I would tell people to bet it, but the value is pretty much gone there. I have a 5-point PRA advantage there, so the line movement was positive. I'm happy to see that. This is a smash spot for Sabonis. I don't know how else to say it. Like Brooklyn is so bad on the interior, and it's nothing that's overly analytical. They just can't guard inside the paint at all. Sabonis is going to get all up in DeAndre Jordan's face, and whoever else they throw up there, he's going to absolutely go bonkers tonight. So Sabonis is a key part of my lineup, as well as Malcolm Brogdon. He's a core play for me on FanDuel tonight, but he's he's like in between core play and secondary play for me on DraftKings. The main reason is just because I kind of want Sabonis just to go off on his own, and he's way too underpriced on FanDuel, where I don't mind having the two of them together. But this is a spot where Brooklyn has been decimated by primary ball handlers. Theo Maledon went off on them. He dropped like 27, 3 and 3.
Let's go.
This is a guy that if you put him on probably 25 teams in the NBA, he might not even make their rotations. And he just dropped 27 points on them. You know what I mean? So second round pick, former rookie of the year out of UVA. Malcolm Brogdon's an absolute stud. I love him in the spot, and he's underpriced probably by like $1,000. Same thing with Sabonis. So a 1-2 punch there is great. You don't necessarily have to run it back with Brooklyn Nets tonight. In my main lineup, I don't have one. So it's a little contrary to the usual game stacking theory, but it's a spot where when you have an $8,400 Russell Westbrook and an $8,300 Siakam, then you slide in Sabonis and Brogdon. James Harden just doesn't fit my build tonight. But it's a spot where you can easily fit in Harden. I'm not playing Kyrie on the second half of a back-to-back with that finger injury. I was all over it yesterday. I knew that he would be able to tough it out after one game, but now that they're on a back-to-back, this is going to be a Harden game. My main concern here is that Malcolm Brogdon's defense is no joke. This guy can really defend the perimeter. So Harden's going to try and draw some fouls, and that's the main thing is that when we're playing Malcolm Brogdon tonight, the one thing that would the only thing that I could see possibly hurting his ceiling would be him. I don't want to say getting into foul trouble, but more so just getting 2 quick fouls. So it would be in the first quarter. Maybe I'll extend a little bit. Maybe in the first 14 or 15 minutes of the game where Malcolm Brogdon gets 2 quick fouls, because the way that they're running Harden's minutes is that he's coming on when a lot of the starters go off, and then that's how Brooklyn kind of shrinks the gap there between games. So that's where we saw James Harden do most of his damage last game, and they're probably going to do the same thing, barring an injury to Kyrie Irving. He might even sit this game. We don't know, right? So this is a spot where I absolutely love to smash James Harden into my lineups tonight, but it's just more so a salary thing where I don't know if I could get there. But he's definitely going to have a ceiling game in a spot like this. Malcolm Brogdon's defense is the one thing that's stopping me from hitting that lock button.
Watch out. Let's get back to the chat for a little bit. We got a couple lineups people want us to go over. What's up, Antorio? What do you think? FanDuel cash lineup: Satoransky, Brunson, Beal, Harden, Josh Rich, Middleton, Portis, Blazely, and Horford.
So at point guard, you need to change both those guys. You can't go Beal and Harden. You need to come off Beal. No one's playing Beal in cash. So you need to come off Beal, go way down at shooting guard. You need to get Diallo in there and Brogdon at point guard. Come off Beal. Josh Richardson. Just go down to Gallinari over Jay Rich. No Portis. He's way too... It's just you're relying on a Milwaukee blowout, and that's not what you want to do for cash. You could honestly play 4 Thunder in cash today on FanDuel. They're only running an 8-man rotation. So
how much fun is that?
It's not the sexiest of plays, but all these guys are going to be like 90% owned. So you could just get different in other spots there.
Love it. Come back to us. DraftKings single entry: Brogdon, Diallo, Craig, Siakam, Sabonis, Westbrook, Roby, Hernan Gomez, or Josh Jackson.
Yeah, lock that in.
Well, Hernan Gomez or Josh Jackson. Which one do you like more?
Hernan Gomez.
It looks pretty familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It sounds like it looks familiar. Sabonis versus Brogdon with Harden Siakam stack. Sabonis, right?
If you're playing Sabonis over anybody, you could tell me Sabonis over James Harden,
world, baby.
Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, all 3 of them together, I'd still take Sabonis. So
love it. What's Dre doing?
Considering you have Harden in there, you need two pacers, because if Harden's having a ceiling game, then this game's gonna shoot over, and you need Sabonis and Brogdon there.
Drea wants to stack some Pelicans, so we're gonna a couple Pelicans questions. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. Westbrook, Harden, Justin Jackson, Siakam. Yeah, okay, lock it. Lock it, baby. Lock it. Have a question. We'll answer that in a little bit. GPP: Russ, Nito, Craig, Roby, Siakam, Brogdon, Diallo, Kyrie, and Lowry, Harden, Hart, Kyle Anderson, PJ Washington, LBJ, Craig, and Roby. Which one?
That second one is very low owned, so that would be like a larger field. I'm not really chasing Josh Hart's like 36 rebounds that he had yesterday there, so nice. I'm not really on Josh Hart tonight. But I don't play slow-mo either. That's Kyle Anderson. And in the first lineup, I wouldn't play Neto with Russ. That screams negative correlation. I know shooting guard's really tough tonight, So I would come off. It really depends. It depends. If you like the forward spot better, you can move Diallo to shooting guard, and then you need to replace Neto with a cheap forward. Or if you rather fill in that shooting guard spot, you need to come off Kyrie and then just upgrade Neto a little bit.
Master at work. 9K entry, DraftKings GPP. Trey, Bruce Brown, Dort, Roby, Capella, Luca, THT, Forbes.
I'm going to play THT unless Anthony Davis is out.
I think he will be out. You don't want to fuck around with an Achilles injury. We'll get to that game in a little bit, but like
we'll see if he's out there. But that's the one thing with these Lakers guys, you never know who's going to, like, LeBron's questionable every single day there.
Yeah, that's been
you know that he's pretty much going to play. So
we'll see.
Outside of that, I can't get behind Lou Dort in a 9,000 person tournament. He's coming in like 40 to 50% owned, and it's Lou Dort. So like I'm cool with him in cash, but
Dort.
Lou Dort in GBP is a hard fade for me tonight.
You've just had so much. Hello. Hey.
Hello.
DraftKings cash. Westbrook, Diallo, K. Williams, Bonus, Siakam, Forbes, Baisley, T. Craig. Where do I need to make improvements? Good question.
Diallo, Williams, Baisley. So you have 3 Thunder. That's good. Craig, Forbes. The one thing with Craig and Forbes is that they're direct subs for one another, right? So I would likely swap one of those guys. Craig's popping in the model though, so I prefer Craig over Forbes tonight.
Popping. TJ McConnell an option on FanDuel, or are we just rolling with Brogdon?
No, you got to lock in Brogdon and Diallo.
Lock it in. FanDuel GPP, Brogdon, Craig. Oh, I haven't heard Ja's name yet. Craig Harden, Gallon AD. I like that. Middleton, Sabonis, Roby Zeller.
Yeah, it's strong. No one's playing Ja tonight at all. So it's a good spot going up against LaMelo. It's a good spot for him.
Yeah, he's young. He's young. Doncic, Bruce Brown, Herter, Roby, Capella, Brogdon, Saboner. Nice.
Yeah, some. Yeah, no Trey. Some backup pieces in that.
I think we're missing.
Capella's good there, but
are we missing a couple?
Yeah,
players?
We are missing somebody.
I don't
know if that's a core, but we're missing.
We need 2 more, right?
4, 5.
DraftKings.
We're missing 1.
Oh.
We're missing a utility.
Oh yeah, da. Cool.
But,
all right, maybe Dre is just being
interesting Hawks take there with no Trey, and you're going Herter and Capella. You're getting different in a game that's different on top of that. So it's
damn
a good strategy. I like that.
Dre is playing like 4D chess. I love it. FanDuel, Brogdon, Sabonis, Middleton, Kawhi. Yeah, Zeller, a good stud for GPP with 52.50 left for each player.
Yeah, the only thing about Kawhi is that I don't know if that game stays competitive. I really hate building based on blowout potential, but Minnesota is just so bad. So like I don't know if I could get behind Kawhi tonight. I did rate him up in the others to consider just because this guy could drop 50 FanDuel points in 25 minutes with how bad Minnesota is. But now that D'Lo's out, like you're counting on Malik Beasley to keep them in a game against one of the best teams in the NBA. I just that's the one thing that's preventing me from going all in on Kawhi tonight.
Cool.
But yes, that is a good start.
Let's get back to some of these games. We have Charlotte. We have Memphis. As you said, we haven't been hearing too much about this. Memphis favored by 2.5 at home. Over under is 224. I mean, so that's kind of low compared to some of these other games. But what do we like in this one? LaMelo Ball, man, 8,500. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's getting kind of out of hand now. And the worst part is that people
they don't even give him a picture yet.
Yeah, I know that's messed up, but people are still playing him. Like he's still pulling ownership numbers at these salaries too. On top of that, right? So I'll let others chase here. You like this is why like when people were saying like why Russ, you could get Russell Westbrook for $100 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm not playing LaMelo Ball. Like it's not the most analytical take, but that's all I need for me to not play LaMelo Ball tonight. I get it. It's a really good spot. I love picking on Ja Morant's defense. This is a game where if you want to ride or die in the mid range and kind of just fade the really low owned plays, like you could probably stack LaMelo with J-Val and Ja, and then you could go then you could eat some other chalk because no one's really, well, even J-Val's pulling ownership. Like it, even though if this game was really low owned, I would say okay, like it would be okay for large field tournaments, but it's a lot of chalk because then you want to round it out with guys like Roby, guys like Diallo, because you have that extra salary, whereas you're not playing guys like Harden at 10 10-4. You're not playing Trae Young. You're not playing Doncic. You're not playing any of these guys, right? So the fact that you're in the mid-range, it's okay. And you could get the higher priced OKC guys, the Baisleys, the Diallos, the Horfords. But at that point, your aggregate ownership in your lineup is like 5 million %. So that's the one reason why I'm off this game. But there's a lot of guys in good spots. Hayward comes to mind as well in the wing. LaMelo versus Ja, J-Val. So Jonas Valanciunas and Cody Zeller as well. He's still producing. So is the salary getting up there? Yeah, it was nice playing Cody Zeller when he was 3.6 and 3.7, 3.8, and even at 4K, he was nice. But now it's getting up into some pretty crazy pricing where you're hoping for 40 plus points from a guy like Cody Zeller.
Yeah, and he has a pretty wicked receding hairline. Let's move on. We have the Clippers. We have the Timberwolves. Clippers favored by 9.5 on the road. Over under sits at 225. Karl Anthony Towns is expected to play, and then he tweeted at Shams and was like, nah, maybe not. We'll have to see. I don't think that matters. I think if anything, that kind of pumps down a couple other people. I don't think he's going to get full run, even if he does play. Paul George, that's the important one. He is out. Looks like he's going to be out for a minute too. Over the next, I think he's not coming back, not even expected to care until their 6-game homestand starting on Sunday. So he's going to be out for a little while. And D'Lo is still questionable. Obviously, we're a little far away from that lock time.
He got ruled out as well.
He did get ruled out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So talk to me. I mean, as you said, Kawhi Leonard, this is at a weird spot for him. I mean, he could definitely put up the points, 9,400. It's just him going up against like a bunch of nobodies. So, I mean, how are you feeling about this game in terms of some of the value that could potentially come from it?
Yeah, I'd say it's a good spot. And you know what? If you're not playing Kawhi, I'm not completely opposed. Again, this would be more for large field tournaments where you're playing guys like Lou Williams. You're playing guys like Terrence Mann. You're hoping that, you know what, Kawhi gets... If you're not playing Kawhi, then under the impression that he gets 25 minutes, well, somebody's got to get out there, right? So guys like Terrence Mann, guys like Lou Will are going to be handling the ball. Kennard probably gets some extra shots up there. You know, this is a spot where Minnesota's defense is just atrocious. So somebody's got to be scoring. If Kawhi's not scoring, somebody else has to. I'm not playing any of these guys personally myself, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, no, none of these guys are on the table to play tonight. They're all really cheap outside of Kawhi. Right. And they're all going to get good run. We already know exactly like what you had said, where Paul George is out for multiple games. They're not going to play a 56-year-old Nick Batum 40 minutes. You know what? Because they really hope that they beat the T-Wolves tonight. Like if the Clippers lose this game, they literally don't care. Yeah. This is not a spot where it's like, oh my God, we're losing this game. You know what I mean? It's like to them, they're focused on the health of their team. This is a team that's championship or bust, right? So for me, if you're playing Kawhi, it's okay. Just be careful because, again, no D'Lo. If Cat plays in this game, I'd be shocked if he got over 20 minutes. Yeah. Underlying conditions for him from a personal standpoint too, and battling COVID, this and that, like this is bigger than basketball. So I'd be shocked if he got over 20 minutes. It's going to be guys like Malik Beasley, where you're hoping that he keeps up with Kawhi Leonard. This is an easy spot for me based on the contest that I play, the single entries that we've been talking about on Discord. This is an easy one to cross off my list.
Faded. Let's move on to the next game, New Orleans and Chicago. I know we had some questions about this. Pels favored by 2.5. Over under sits at 230. I just want to say someone put something funny in here before. Pels spread 2.5. Bruh, it's Christmas. Watch out. I mean, when you see something like that, there's a reason the line is what it is. We know that the Bulls have their whole entire front court, literally Otto Porter, Lauri Markkanen, and what's his face out. Thank you, Wendell Carter Jr. Big Duke fan here. Other than that, though, how was the show, right? What are you looking at from this game? Who we playing? And you know, Drea especially, I think, was asking how are we stacking some of these Pelicans up?
Yeah, I'm not playing anybody from this game, but again, this is a spot where if you combine this with the Dallas Atlanta game, that would be my large field GPP tournament build. Or you're playing 50, 60,000 people. It's a two high-paced spots where if this was a 4 to 5 game slate, everybody would be on this game and everybody would be on Atlanta Dallas. Realistically, you don't even have to shrink the slate all that much. Just if you take out the Toronto Washington game and the Brooklyn game, everybody would be on these two games, right? So people kind of again they flock to new player news, and it's the same thing when they see Brooklyn on a slate now. It's like, okay, everyone, we need to stock this Brooklyn game. There's other good pieces other than Brooklyn net games when they're on these slates, right? So this is a spot where personally I'm not going to get there, but Brandon Ingram on the wing is somebody that, you know what, who's he going up against tonight? Pat Williams? Like, okay, he's a capable rookie, but Exactly that. He's a rookie. Brandon Ingram has been there, done that, right? So this is a spot where Brandon Ingram should be able to do his thing out there on the wing. And who's guarding Zion in the paint tonight? Daniel Gafford. Guy fouls at an even higher rate than John Collins. And that says a lot.
Whoa.
And then who's coming in? Thad Young. Thad Young's like 15 years past his prime. He's shout out Thad Young. He's been stringing some very, very impressive performances for his age and for the condition of this team. But the guy's still like 45 years old. Like Zion's gonna dominate the paint if he wants to, right? So you could stack up the big Pels, and Lonzo has a really good matchup too, right? So we keep picking on the Chicago front court, but it's not like Zach LaVine and Kobe White are shut down defenders. I wouldn't even call them defenders, period. So like, let alone shut down defenders. Like this is a spot where Zoe, if he really wants to turn it up and he knows that he's on the block, he wants to get traded to a good team. Maybe the Clippers come calling a team like that where, you know what, he wants to go to a contending team. He's got to show that he can ball. So, you know what, there's a nice little pun there. I just realized at 6,600, at 6,600, Zoe is a guy that's going to be sub 5% owned. And you know what, I could easily see him going for 40 plus in a spot like this. So it's fast paced. There's no defense. It's exactly what we look for in a DFS environment. It's just, again, when we're getting to these prices where we're paying this much for Brandon Ingram, we're paying this much for Zion. Zion's 82, I get Siakam at 83. Or he's 81, I get Siakam at 83. Ingram's 83, Siakam's the same price. Zach LaVine's 9,000. I have Fred VanVleet $400 cheaper. I have Russell Westbrook $600 cheaper. It's more like, it's not that these guys are bad plays. It's just the fact that they're grouped in with the players that they are grouped with in their salary ranges at the exact same positions. That's why nobody's playing these guys. But again, you play Zion at 81 or Brandon Ingram at 83, and people are playing Sabonis at 86. Are they going to outscore Sabonis? No, because Sabonis is just the DFS god. Yeah. He's the DFS god. But you take another player at 8,600. If Brandon Ingram outscores that player and he's 40% owned, and now you have Brandon Ingram at 4% owned, all of a sudden you're jumping tens of thousands of people. So in a large field contest, I can get down with a Pelicans bull stack. Absolutely.
Got to love it. Let's get back to the chat. See what the heck is going on over here. FanDuel GPP, Brogdon, Diallo, Craig, DiVincenzo, Valentine, Middleton, Roby, Sabonis, and Joker.
Yeah, it's strong. No matter how weak center is, Joker is still continuously low owned. So
dude is incredible.
I can always get down with that. And is DV the strongest play? Probably not. But the fact that it allows you to get Joker, absolutely. I love it.
Sabonis and Joker. Better to go with Kyrie or Brogdon with Sabonis, Hardman. Could play both, but it gets ugly down at the 3,100 for each.
You want to go Brogdon in that spot.
Love it. Ghost, should I switch Kyrie to Siakam? Next comment is $300 cheaper.
Kawhi to Siakam? Or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kawhi. My bad.
Okay, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's just he's expensive on FanDuel. I know, Tyler, you play on FanDuel. I see that you've been posting FanDuel lineups. So his price is a little high, but small forward absolutely blows. So I can get down with Middleton and going all the way down to Gallinari. I wouldn't necessarily, but I don't know. I'd like it. I wouldn't necessarily be upset by playing two high-priced small forwards because nobody's going to do that tonight. 30 minutes is all you need.
I was going to say that's like a really weird limit to give somebody that's not Steph Curry, right? Like that's just weird.
Gallinari has never been the player in his career where he plays 36 anyways. Even when he starts, he plays 32. So 30 minutes of Gallinari at 3,800 for me, it's very hard to get away from that.
Zeller should have gotten the plum dog multiplier today.
I should have left his original projection up yesterday.
69. Yeah, he almost hit it, right? Like he came pretty close on that.
He hit like 53 or something, 52 or something like that.
Pretty funny. Pels, Bulls, Bledsoe, Levine, and Adams.
Yeah, I would just swap out Bledsoe for Lonzo. I do like Lonzo in this spot better. And I saw you posted a lineup with Lonzo in Discord. Don't trust your gut.
Trust your gut, Jay. You know this shit. Hey guys, good game. Thanks. Game's not even started yet. Some rando with two kids. It looks like first time, long time. Well, you have to hang up after you ask the question. That's the only precursor. Will Sabonis score over or under 800 DraftKings points?
Over.
Yeah, obviously. Do we like Alex Len tonight? Do you want me to answer this one, Ghost? Because I think I know it.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it no?
No, he is popping and he is getting the start. So
wow, I'm surprised. You're the slander on Alex Len is usually pretty heavy on the show. That's surprising. Even in some guys popping the model, you still tell me it's like, don't worry, look at their names too. So just saying.
Let us not forget that who released Alex Len.
He was on the Suns. He was on the Rockets. I honestly don't remember.
Who was he on this season?
I have no idea.
Toronto Raptors.
Oh, that's so sad. You guys could use literally any sort of front court
So
help.
it's a spot where it's not exactly a revenge narrative, but when someone releases you and picks Aaron Baines over you and doesn't even try and trade you, like you're not even good enough to get traded, you get cut.
Yikes. This
Won't take much from
fucking
these dirt sheets too.
league. This fucking league. So we have Cleveland. We have Denver. Denver's favored by 9.5 points over under of 2. I mean, are we playing anyone from this game? Like, ew. I mean, outside of Joker, yeah.
Joker, Drummond, and Sexton. That's it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't touch anybody else from this game.
That looks ugly. That looks real ugly.
It's really bad. I don't know. There's games with totals that are 25 points higher. I don't know what else to say there. It's just I wouldn't attack that game at all.
Don't think we need to worry about it. Lakers, Thunder, Lakers.
Oh my chalk.
Lakers 12.5 over under 217. We don't know if Anthony Davis is going to play. He's an actual questionable because he missed the game the other night. LeBron absolutely did his thing. I think it was against the Thunder too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's going to play because it's an Achilles injury and you don't want to mess with that. The Lakers like made the playoffs already. Like I think that's kind of just cemented. So why bother? So does that open up LeBron James? I mean, again, we just saw them blow a team out, but LeBron still did his thing. How are you feeling about it? Or they didn't quite blow the Thunder out, right? It was closer. It was weirdly close, right?
I'm pretty sure they went to double overtime.
Holy shit. I don't watch any of the late games, so I'm sorry, guys. That's on me. I was asleep.
But it's like they're asking us to play LeBron.
Yep.
Especially if AD's out, but I can't do it. I just can't.
LeBron playing 43 minutes.
I'm so invested in Brooklyn, Indiana, and Toronto, Washington that I'm not going to hope that Hamidou Diallo scores 40 points for LeBron to stay out there for a full 36. Like it's just you play that game in cash. You could even round it out in some GPP because of how cheap they are. Isaiah Roby is a core play for me on DraftKings as well. So Isaiah, you guys, I'm not going to go over every single core play that's there. I've been kind of saying them as we go along, so I'm not going to regroup and say them. But
write them down.
Isaiah Roby is a core play for me today. Mike Muscala is in, and I'm sure people are going to slightly overthink this. And Isaiah Roby should be 100% owned tonight, and he might be 70% owned. And I'll gladly take that ownership discount. I don't care because it's chalk. That's worth eating. He's 3,700. He'll probably get the start, and even if he doesn't, Al Horford is like 40, and OKC has 8 guys to run out there, right? Nice. So they have 9. One of them's Darius Miller, so they have 8. This is a spot where, you know what, a $3,700 Isaiah Roby. They've been playing Darius Bazley at point guard on top of that now. Maladon's out, SGA is out, George Hill is out. They don't have a primary ball handler. So I love Diallo's game. I love the high-flying dunks. It's fun to watch this kid. But at the same time, he's not a primary ball handler. So they need somebody that could actually carry the ball up and down the court. Diallo's not it. So Bazley's been playing some point guard. Opens up some minutes for Roby at the 4 at 3,700. He's a core play for me on DraftKings, absolutely. And I will have at least 2 OKC guys in my main lineup. It's really chalky, but again, when you're playing 4% owned Pascal Siakam, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Last game of the night before we get back to the chat and any questions you guys have, drop them in there. We're going to be leaving in a couple minutes here. Last game we have of the night, we have the Bucks and the Suns. Bucks favored by 4 on the road. Big reason for that. Drew Holiday is out. That was kind of weird. He was healthy. He was a healthy scratch the other night. Like it was like right before lock. I saw Adam get it in there for everybody, but I still think it was like super close, unfortunately. So I'm sure some people got caught by that. And the team hasn't come out and said anything. It was actually Chris Middleton in his post-game press conference that said, yeah, he might have gotten COVID. So it's like, that's kind of like super weird that the NBA hasn't figured some of this shit out yet, but who the hell am I? It's 2021. It's a goddamn pandemic. Chris Paul, though, I think that's the interesting news. Chris Paul is questionable. I think we're not going to find that out for a little while if he's playing or not, but that opens up the point. Can I call him the other point guard? Is that too much?
He doesn't have that title yet. I'm the driver of the Devin Booker fan club bus.
Yeah,
but
Point Booker was fantastic the other night. He was absolutely fantastic.
Back-to-back games, actually, he got to do it.
Was it? Goddamn. Yeah, again against Boston as well. Does he get to do it again? Like, and how do you build around an incredible opportunity like this? Like, it's so frustrating. He's only 8,100, dude. Like, it's so frustrating.
I would love it. Because shooting guard is not as deep as on other nights. They're point guards. I wrote up point guards today, and I was like I could write up like 15 different players like in this spot. Like it doesn't make sense. And I got to shooting guard and I was like, I can't even find 2 of them to write up. It was that bad. So it's like it would fill out my lineup so nicely. But then what do you do when it's 9:55 Eastern? There's all the games I've already started or they're done. There's nowhere to pivot, and you get the notification that CP3 will play.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do you do with your lineup at that point? So it's a really big risk. If you're playing a guy like Devin Booker, you need to have a placeholder there. I wouldn't even say in the guard spot. He needs to be in your utility spot.
Yeah.
It's the last game on the slate. It needs to be in your utility spot, and you have to hope that you can get the news, but it can't even be at 9 p.m. because there's nobody to pivot to. You're pivoting to Colin Sexton.
What about like a Chris Middleton?
I don't mind it, but like I love Chris Middleton in this spot.
See, like that's an interesting one, right? Like he's a couple $100 cheaper. So if you're really trying to lock in Booker, I mean, that's just an opportunity. But again, like that kind of handcuffs you at some point. So it's not like the best strategy to go into it.
Exactly. And my issue with that is that if I'm playing Booker, I want Middleton in the same lineup. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to pivot to one or the other. I want both in the same lineup. So it's like it's really tough. I would love to get point guard Booker again tonight. We just don't know what's going on. If it happens, it's a smash block for him, especially with no Jrue Holiday defending him. Giannis isn't. If the sun rises and you have a pulse, you're able to play Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's just the way the slate works. Same thing with Luka Doncic. Same thing with a lot of these other players, right?
Joker.
So, Joker, of course, and Sabonis, obviously the best player in the entire NBA.
Vooch.
So, Vooch as well.
Shout out
Vooch over 10.5 rebounds, absolutely slammed
in like the third quarter. That was awesome.
Yeah, I was even gonna say I was sweating the Butler PRA for like the first half, but it wasn't really a sweat because he had like 25 at half.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where was the sweat? You texted me halfway through the third. You're like, cash it. I was like, I forgot we even bet on that one.
Well, to me, it's a sweat until it cashes, right? So
yeah, understand.
I was like, you know what, this was a nice 20-minute sweat instead of counting down the rebounds in garbage time and hoping that he gets game clinching free throws or anything like that. So that was nice that those two props hit. But again, I like this Middleton Booker 1-2 punch. You could play Giannis outside of that. Torrey Craig has been popping in the model as well as a value play. So real quick, because obviously we got to go there. But Brian Forbes did start for Jrue Holiday last time. I wouldn't play both of them together. One or the other works. Both of them are shooting guards. Brian Forbes at 3,800. And you got to look at it this way. This is the way that we've been talking about it. Brian, Adam, and I were saying, look, you get 25 minutes out of both pretty much. Craig's like 23 minutes. Forbes is like 26, 27. Call it even at 25 minutes each. Do you want 25 minutes where the majority of those minutes are Forbes playing with Giannis and Middleton? Or do you want 25 minutes where a player like Torrey Craig, maybe he's less talented, but he's sharing the court with Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, and some of these other players, right? So
love it.
You got to hope that Forbes ends up getting shots over Giannis and Middleton. At one point, you gotta evaluate that. So in case anyone's asking why is Craig projected higher than Forbes, there's a little quick explanation.
There you go. A couple more questions before we hop out of here. Any juicy props? I think we kind of missed the train on it.
I did have them this morning, but to be honest with you, it's something that I monitor throughout the day, and I got them a lot earlier than I usually take them, and right now there's just no value there. So I'm not somebody that forces a bet. I'm not going to say take Sabonis over in PRA because I still like it at 42.5, just because that's who I am and that's what the numbers show. But at the same time, I got it at 37.5. So it's like at one point you got to know when to I gotta know when to hold it back and say, you know what, I'll get it next game. Same thing with the Toronto Washington game. That was my main bet today. I texted you this morning at like 6 a.m. there. I said like Washington, Toronto over 230.5. It's now up to 235.5. So
you'll love it.
A lot of the things that I was on, it's they moved too high for me to recommend them right now.
Yes. Trust the model and do what we got to do. Large field GPP, also putting in my 3 max. Russ, Mann, Ingram, Gallinari, or Morris Sr. leaning Morris. Why didn't you put him in there? Capella, Ice Tray, Roby, and Craig.
I like it. I like Gallinari in that spot, though.
Gallo, DraftKings single entry GPP 3K entries. Westbrook, Harden, Craig, Sabonis, Len, Brogdon, Roby, Forbes.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
Forbes and Craig together?
If you like. Make another one if you like. Yeah, it's not something that I would recommend, but all the other pieces are good, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Make another one where you put either move Roby to center, swap out Len, like swap out the the pieces that, you know what, the fringe pieces, if I could call it, the Forbes, the Craigs, the Lens, you should run that 3 times ideally, or you go all 3 of them together, one without Len, one without Forbes.
Love it. There you go.
Craig and
Ghost,
all 3.
need the criticism. Hey, man, we're all here to help. Brogdon, Diallo, Harden, Craig, Middleton, Gallo, Sabonis, Boucher. Can we call him Booch? That's kind of fun. And Zeller.
I like it. Just maybe make another one with Roby over Boucher, and then double check Craig on the final productions. I know we've been talking about him a lot, but he's minimum price on DraftKings, so that's it's a big difference.
Noel has to play with D'Lo out. 3,800 against the Clippers.
Yeah, that's a spot where everyone's playing Brian Forbes, right? You go play Noel, and it's like, hey, who's playing for Minnesota at this point, right? So it's not like they're going to play Ricky Rubio 36 minutes because they absolutely want to win this game. I think they've won like 5 games all year.
They're terrible, man. FanDuel, Sexton, Edwards, or Powell?
Check the model, but I'd like to think that it likes Sexton, then Powell, then Edwards.
Ghost knows the model. The model knows, though. Goddamn. Which lineup you like better? Last one for my 3-entry. Brogdon, Harden, Kenrich, Sabonis, PJ Washington, Craig, Roby, Diallo, or Brogdon, Bruce Brown, Diallo, Sabonis, Turner, Booker, Roby, Valentine. First one. Screw it. Torrey Craig at shooting guard tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I made multiple lineups. My main is Torrey Craig at shooting guard.
Brogdon, Rozier, Hayward, Anderson, Turner, DiVincenzo, Barton, and Horford.
There's a lot of guys there that are very meh to me, like the Bartons, the DVs, the Andersons. Stacking Rozier and Hayward, you would need a better Memphis player than Anderson. Excuse me.
Pat Bev is starting. Some information we appreciate. Is Anderson starting at the 4 and guarding PJ Washington? If so, is Washington still a good play? Good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. To me, it's just Washington relies a lot upon defensive stats, and this is a game where he can gather that, right? So I saw how high his projection was, and I was looking, I was like, why did it spit that out? And I was looking, and the amount of defensive opportunity that he has based on the pace that Memphis plays at, and at the rate that he gathers defensive stats and steals and blocks, that's where he's really going to hit his ceiling. So this is a spot where, you know what, if he's one-on-one on Kyle Anderson, I do like that matchup. Absolutely. Just again, on the offensive end, LaMelo, Rozier, Hayward, and Zeller will all touch the ball before PJ Washington. Him and Zeller are kind of tied. So it's more Hayward, Rozier, and LaMelo Ball will all touch the ball before those 2 guys. So just something to consider.
Last couple questions. Baisley or Roby? If I go with Baisley, then Bruce Brown is my shooting guard.
I prefer to compare 2 for 2. So like do Baisley and Bruce Brown versus Roby and somebody. But if your other shooting guard is somebody like Torrey Craig or someone like that, Baisley is definitely safer than Roby tonight. It's more so if you get Roby in there and you get a way better shooting guard than Bruce Brown, then roll with that. Just trust your gut.
Roll with it. $40 single entry. Big player. Noel, Lou Williams, Middleton, Sabonis, Roby, Brogdon, K. Williams, and Westbrook.
Noel and Lou Will are going to be like 0% owned in that contest.
There you go.
It's the contest that I'm thinking of. So
interesting.
Yeah, consider those 2 guys possibly switching them.
How should I build a lineup if I'm entering a 50-cent tournament? I think that is a good question for Discord, windailysports.com/chat, because we got to hop out of here. It doesn't really matter what the dollar amount is. It matters how many people are in it and how many entries you get. So make sure to come back to us on that. Roby, no bueno.
Yeah.
Yes, bueno.
Yep.
Ghost, where can everyone find you on the internet?
At DFS_Ghost over on Twitter, and of course with the Win Daily team, windailysports.com/chat. 7 free days. Make sure you guys come and join. It's a lot of fun. Yes, it's a lot of NBA talk, a lot of sports talk on every single sport, but we have a lot of fun in there too. So
a lot of gifts, a lot of gifts. You can find me at MichaelRazile1. You can find us at Win Daily Sports. One more time, windailysports.com/chat. 7 free days in that expert Discord chat. For Ghost, for myself, for the whole chat, we love all of you. For Win Daily Sports, for HNB Media TV, make sure to like this video, subscribe. You know how this shit works. Hope you make it a very profitable Wet Wednesday. I'm having taquitos tonight, so very excited.
Nice.
Happy Wet Wednesday, everybody.